What's your favorite Nick meme? Probably this one.
Frequently asked questions with Nick. Frequently asked questions with Nick. The questions that you frequently ask.
Jacob asks, would you ever record your own vocals and do you know how to sing or scream? I've always wanted to learn how to properly sing or scream ever since I was like 15 years old. I always just found it so fascinating, so cool. I've never had the proper time to dedicate to it because I'm the type of person, who when I want to learn something new, I want to make sure like I have a month or two straight to really kind of obsess over it and try to get it done right. So I've been just so focused on, guitar, music, and then, when I was in school, there was school. So I never had that time, but, I'm getting older. I'm like, screw it. I've started taking actually lessons for screaming and all that. So hopefully one day I can actually utilize it. But I definitely won't be sharing it until I feel nice and comfortable that it's actually decent enough to share. But I'd love to do it in the future. Hell yeah. Dylan asks, have you ever played in any bands? If so, did you ever have any funny or interesting experiences dealing with live shows, writing material, etc.? I have played in a few bands, not any that have released like any material or anything like that. And I was only in them for like probably a couple months at a time. But we did have this show one time with one of my bands that we were opening for Abandon All Ships in Toronto. And I was so sick. Like I could fucking barely walk. Like I felt like complete shit. My energy was gone. Sinuses, all that stuff. And we had to go and load in early for some reason, like 5 hours early before the actual show. So we loaded in, and then right across there's a parking lot that has like a Timmy's and that. So I literally fucking laid down in my car with the seat back for like 4 hours just watching The Office, drinking like Tim Hortons soup and popping some Tylenol until we had our show. And then we went on, took some Tylenol, I went ham, had a lot of fun, and then I crashed for like 2 days after because I just couldn't. Yeah, so not really a funny one, but it's an experience that I'll definitely always remember. But I love playing live. I'd love to do it one day again. JJ asks, what are your 3 biggest tips to set up and mix a gainy guitar sound, EQ compressors, for example, Slipknot, Bullet, and Avenged? Well, a lot of people ask me about my guitar tone, and I have an Axe Effects for those of you who don't know, and it does a lot of the work just because it's so well made and it sounds so realistic to me, at least. And when it comes to any guitar tone, though, I always kind of do things very basic. I set the EQ all to, around 5, very balanced. The presence, same thing, maybe around 5. The gain actually a little lower, maybe around 4, something like that. But that also depends on the amp and all that you're using. And the amp that I'm modeling in my Axe Effects is a PV5150. That's my favorite amp to use. So if I ever have like any kind of program or plugin I can use, I always try to model that. It's just my favorite kind of high gain amp. It's very clean cut and has a lot of power to it. And then I just put a distortion pedal right before it, just for the boost. I don't actually put the gain up on it at all. I only use the boost part to kind of shape the tone a little better. I usually try to model an 808 or a TSC, the Screamer from Ibanez. A lot of these programs have those to model. So I do that, and then I put a compressor. So that's the thing that's kind of really punching out the tone a bit more because it's a very mild, bland tone that's just very balanced. But then the compressor kind of pushes it out a little more. And also because my guitars have active pickups, they do add a little more grit to it. But if I had passive pickups, the only difference is that I'd probably bring the gain up a little more. And to be honest, my tone would be a lot cleaner than it is. But yeah, it's very simplistic when it comes to my tone. I do not do much, but hope that helped. Nikolai asks, what was the first thing you learned on guitar? Obviously, Smoke on the Water. The first full song I learned was actually Green Day. I think it was Boulevard of Broken Dreams, or it was Time of Your Life. I forgot the name of these songs. It was one of those two. I thought it was so cool when I learned that shit. I was like, I'm so good, I can play a song. I was really not good though. Gradin Naru, sorry if I butchered your name by the way, my apologies, asks, do you have any songwriting tips to share with us? I think the biggest thing I learned when it comes to songwriting over the years is that it doesn't matter if you're the most technical guitarist out there, or musician, composer, whatever it is. People connect to music based on emotion. And a lot of that very technical music doesn't have a lot of emotion with it. Like a musician will listen to it and I'll be like, whoa, that's so crazy. I want to learn how to do that. But a lot of non-musicians will listen to it and be like, oh, that's mind-blowing. and then 2 minutes they'll forget the song because they can't connect with it on that emotional level, and it's just too much for them to process, to be honest, right? Even for a lot of musicians, it'll be just too much to process. So I always recommend writing with emotion. Write with the mindset that you want to write for a metal listener instead of just always a metal musician to impress them, right? So your songs will be a little bit more basic, but then what you have to do is add all these technical aspects that you have and all those capabilities into the song subtly, right? So it'll take this more basic sounding song and really innovate it. So then musicians can really appreciate it, and then non-musicians can really connect with it. And then everyone can connect with it because it has a lot of feel and emotion. So that's what I really recommend for people when they're just writing anything. Neon asks, have you ever thought about getting a new guitar, or are you satisfied enough with the ones you have? Well, I actually will be getting a couple new guitars. You will see it very soon with an awesome deal from an amazing company. Very excited to share that with you guys. But, you know, most of my life I've had my 2 Schecters. You guys have seen it in a lot of my videos. And that's simply for the reason that once I get something that, you know, works and I enjoy, I'm good with it. I stick with it. I don't have much reason to want to go out and buy more. Because if I did buy a bunch of new guitars, you know, during all this time I've been playing guitar, I wouldn't be playing them. You know what I mean? I've only probably have a few favorites and only play those. And I don't like that. I don't like seeing gear just sit there being wasted. That's why even though I have good gear, right? Like I have an Axe-Fx, I have Schecters, I have good monitors, I don't have much else here because I just need that to get what I want, right? I don't need these little changes that, yeah, might up the quality of certain things a bit more, but a lot of the time it just ends up being wasteful. So that's how I've always been with a lot of my gear. But you will see new guitars very soon. Sora asks, what's the song in his intro because I really can't find it? I think I've gotten this question literally more than any other question on my channel ever, okay? So that song is an original. It's Nik Nocturnal, Labyrinth. It's off my latest album, which was released like a year and a half ago now, entitled Undying Shadow. I worked my ass off on that album. It has features from like Ben English of Invent Animate, Chakrin, it has Dmitry Demienko and Andrew Ivaschenko. It has Andy, you guys know Andy. And it has Florestan Duran of Novelist and Baptiste from Betraying the Martyrs. Or sorry, Baptiste. So, like, yeah, it has a lot of really cool aspects. It's pretty much just accumulation of all the songs I've ever covered. And all those influences, I take them to really be my own. And, you know, it's a very kind of diverse and fun album that's very heavy and has a lot of metal. So check it out if you're interested. But yeah, that is where any of like the ending music I use or the intro music comes from. It's from that album, Undying Shadow. It's on iTunes, Apple Music, all that stuff. So if you're interested, go check it out. But new material is coming soon, so that intro will eventually be replaced. So a lot of people might be very happy because they're sick of hearing it. But for the people that are sad, don't worry, the new stuff will sound just as good, if not much better. All right? Sep G asks, is YouTube your full-time job? That's kind of a hard realization that I guess it is. You know, last year I was just finishing my, you know, degree, and I finally got it, and the summer hit, and I was like, okay, you know, what do I want to do? Because I kind of got a degree for something that I just didn't really want to go do anymore. You know, it was a business degree, and I'm like, right? Like, do I really want to go be a bookkeeper or an accountant or work in marketing? And then I had this passion, you know, music, obviously YouTube, that was going fairly well. And I was just like, okay, let's focus on this, right? Like, I have my degree, so if I ever really need to go get a job right away, I can get something. But I just kind of focused on YouTube, and I really, really went crazy on it. And I was able to get to the point where I could pay my expenses, you know, my basic necessity living expenses with what I was doing by around the winter. And I was kind of like, okay, you know, like, I'm doing what I love and I'm getting by. I'm much happier doing this than I ever would be doing something like, you know, working a 9 to 5 in an office. So I was like, even if I'm just getting by, that's fine for me. So yeah, I guess YouTube is my full-time job, and I have all of you to thank for that. You know, all the support, the sharing, Patreon, all that stuff really helps me do this. And I hope to keep doing it forward. But yeah, thank you so much. What's your biggest goal as a musician and a YouTuber? Well, a lot of you might not actually know this, but the only reason I opened my channel like 4 years ago was simply to share my original music. That's it. Had nothing to do with covers, had nothing to do with memes. None of that was in my mind at that point. I just posted original music and that was it. I was super happy with that. And then over time, I started doing covers, you know, just for fun. I saw a lot of other people doing it and I was like, I can do that. Let's see how it goes. And somehow I became known as the fast cover guy. So I just kind of kept doing that because it was just fun. And then last year I started doing my Monday videos, which again was just fun. I had these weird, stupid ideas. And I was like, no one else is really doing an idea like most use scales, right? So let's do that. I think it's knowledgeable. You get to learn stuff. And I could do it in a fun and funny way. And you guys really liked that. And I was like, hell yeah, you know. So I kept doing that stuff, kept expanding to more series. And even today, you know, I'm trying to think of new and fun series to do that I think you guys would just enjoy and learn quite a bit from. But I think my goal is still to make it so my original music is heard and just to kind of build this community that, you know, you guys have built, right? I love looking at the comments and seeing everyone just being so nice to each other and getting along. And you guys are actually learning shit. That's the important thing. You know what I mean? Like I love making memes and having fun and all that stuff. But more importantly, I love seeing you guys learn things and being like, Nick, oh my God, like I had no idea, like you actually taught me this, right? And it really means a lot to me to see that. But yeah, so I guess my music goal is to get my original music heard. And then my YouTube goal is just to keep building the community and, you know, teach these weird concepts, scales, modes, all that in fun ways that's really relatable and easy to learn. Cassandra asks, what do I tell people that tell me I'm too old to start learning guitar? I'm 23. You're never too old to start learning anything, right? When we're younger, I think the only thing that makes things easier to learn is that we have tons of time and we're a little more obsessive about things, right? So when we're like 11, 12, whatever, you start learning something and you get obsessed with it. That's your whole life, right? And then when you get older, you know, you have work and you have more responsibilities, so you can't do that as much. But the drive is really the only important thing there. Okay, and even when you're younger, I believe it is a little easier just naturally to learn things. But I don't know. I think when you're older, it's a little easier because you have more experience in general. You're able to understand how to understand things better. So if you have the time and you have the drive, Cassandra, go for it. Screw it. And honestly, you'll learn stuff pretty fast. All right. Halen asks, I hope it's Halen, where do you learn your scales? Other YouTube videos? If so, what's the best one? Cheers. Well, when I started learning when I was like 9, I did take lessons for like a year or two. And we got to the point where we learned like basic scales, like pentatonic scale, the minor scale. And from there, I just started to kind of cover songs, Avenged Sevenfold songs, All That Remains, Disturbed, then As I Lay Dying, things like that. And I noticed that a lot of those simple minor pattern shapes were in all those songs. But then sometimes there'd be maybe like one note difference and I'd be like, oh, what's that note difference, right? So it's curiosity that really drove me to want to learn and explore these weird avenues. And then I'd always be like, okay, well, this is my minor pattern, but a lot of these songs use this extra note that's 1 fret lower. So I'd start using that. And then I'd watch YouTube videos and be like, oh my God, so that's it. That's the harmonic minor scale. Or, oh my God, that's the Phrygian dominant scale. And I kind of accidentally learned them just from learning covers. But YouTube is still a great place to kind of learn things like that. It's hard because online they teach things in a very theoretical way, a very like, oh, I went to music school and you have to learn it only this way. You know, when I teach my students, I don't teach that way at all. I hate that way of thinking. I teach it a very logical, kind of pattern-oriented way that will actually stick with you instead of remember this, remember this, remember this, right? So YouTube is a better place, I think, than just Google and just Googling random things and going to websites because they're very theoretically correct. But even, you know, my videos, I guess, sometimes help. But I have been wanting to actually do a, you know, scales video, a modes video to teach you guys that stuff because, you know, even today I look online and I'm like, it's not really being taught a very efficient way, right? It's still being taught the old-fashioned way. And it's very hard to translate it to metal, especially. So, yeah, I'd say YouTube, but covering songs is probably the best way you can learn new things. Just analyzing some of the patterns they're using and internalizing them, okay? Taco Kiss 3 asks, what keeps you motivated the most? Is it from watching your heroes perform? Much love, my dude. Always great content. Thank you so much, dude. what keeps me motivated the most is, I think, mainly you guys, right? Like, I make a video and I grind, you know, I work hard to get it out, and I'm exhausted by the end of it, but I put it out, and then, you know, a couple hours later or the day after, I'll look and I'll see all the comments, and it like makes my day. You know, even the hateful ones, I find them just funny, to be honest. But you know, I love seeing people be like, oh my God, I actually learned something, and things like that. And thank you so much, which is, it's so weird for me because, you know, I'm just still a dude in his room making videos for fun. You know, I'm just doing it for myself, kind of. But to see that so many people like it and enjoy it means the world to me. So whenever I feel down or unmotivated, I always try to remember that I'm so lucky to be in the position that I am, and I've been given so many amazing opportunities that to give up would just be stupid ever, right? So that's always what keeps me going. And the fact that I've collabed with so many people because you guys have given me this opportunity, like Jared Dines, Andy, Andrew, Lauren, the list, there's so many, right? It's just mind-blowing to me that I get to work with so many people that I'm a huge fan of. Even bands like Betraying the Martyrs, I get to work with those people. And it's like, what? How many people get this opportunity? So that's really what drives me to kind of always bounce back if I'm not feeling good or, you know, confident in what I'm doing. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. Hey guys, hope you like that video. There it is, fact number 2. Sorry it took me so long to get done. If you like these videos, tell me down below in the comments and I'll try to do more of them. Also, if you have any questions, just tell me down below in the comments as well. But I had tons of questions for this one, so sorry if I didn't get to yours. My apologies. I'll try to get to it maybe next time if we do more. But yeah, there was just so many, so I tried to pick the most popular ones, to be honest. But yeah, hope you liked this video, and hope you learned a little more about the world.